All
ready.
right,
Yeah.
everybody, here we go. Nick Smith joining us from sunny California. How you doing,
Oh,
Nick?
dude, I wish it was sunny. It's cloudy today. Very, very cloudy out there.
Well, isn't that the way it should be on this weird time in the world? It should be cloudy every day until we get this figured out.
Yeah, I guess it's probably easier that way, to be honest. No worries there. It makes me want to go outside less.
I know, right? Well, what do you got for us, Nick? You're the ultimate geek. You're gonna tell us
Yeah,
about
right.
you've been hacking all day. What are your
Well,
hacking
I've
tips?
been hacking at things that are giving me blue screens right now. Is it not a happy day in my tech world? I got a software updates are the bane of my existence, to be perfectly honest. And I had one today that corrupted a whole system, so it took me down for my fun stuff. But honestly, what we've been listening to people a lot is this whole remote thing, right? It's like I'm remote, I want to interview somebody remote, and what we're doing here works really good, right? I mean, there's these just wonderful applications like Zoom and GoToMeeting and Teams and Skype, and there's everything out there. But when you really get down to the brass tacks, if I want a completely independent stream that I can bring into my production switcher, and I want forward error correction and bonding and all those things, it's not always there with these types of applications, and we're dealing with delay and all that. So we've been partnering with a lot of people lately and kind of listening to this messaging and saying, well, how are you doing production? And we stumbled on some really interesting ones. We found a client recently that was pulling SRT feeds out of Haivision's cloud and then using NDI scan converter to flip that from VLC over to their TriCaster and their production rig. We've seen some people trying to do bonded cellular and pull together as much bandwidth as possible to get pristine quality through things like Skype, and Skype doesn't even support bonded internet connections, right? So a lot of it's just been helping people to figure out how to work remote and how to deal with people who are remote. So utilizing things like, you had Wowza on previously, the Go Coder is one of the greatest apps ever because I can take my camera and create a stream that then a TriCaster, a vmix, any kind of decoder can read and pull into the production. And so kind of taking those types of hacks and helping people come up with some ways to solve it better, right? And so kind of where we landed in this is with our Intinor platform of encoders and decoders, creating ways that people can get more pristine quality out of their cameras, out of their remote feeds. And I've got, am I allowed to share? Can I turn
Yeah,
on
please
sharing?
do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's do it, because it's way more fun for me to talk about it and show it than it is. Did I hit the right button? I hit the right button. All right, so y'all should be seeing a screen right now. So this is our Intinor platform, and it's our direct router. That little blue box that you see there, it's a router, and what it does is it can take anybody's IP signal, and it accepts, well, we can license it up to do like 10, 15, whatever, but ideally out of the box we license them up to take 16 IP streams, and those can be anybody's encoder, right? So they can come out of any device that can send out an RTMP. And if the device doesn't natively cross the firewall, there's a feature within this where we can create a sort of pseudo CDN in which we generate a stream key and a password, and then you punch that into your device just like it's sending to a CDN. And now that device, which is designed to feed out to YouTube's and Vimeo's and all those CDN platforms, we become that receive device. And then now that camera is streaming, or that device is streaming into us. And now once it's in, I can convert it to an NDI stream. I can convert it to SDI. I can rebroadcast it with a graphic, and I can, kind of flip it to go out. And as you can see, kind of in the graphic, which is really, really busy, there's all these different devices we can get in. But what we found most following along with these clients was that PTZ cameras, they want the ability to remotely control a PTZ camera. Now, all of you guys in the PTZ world have done this for us in the ability to, like with you guys specifically, you have a very clean, elegant web GUI for controlling a camera. All you need to be able to do is access that camera panel, that control surface, so to speak, from any location. And so within this platform, we've got a small receiver, and I will jump down to it. It's in here somewhere. I can forward the slides. Nope, I went the wrong way. These little receivers here, these router lights, we have the ability to turn on a VPN with these. And so this little router light can go at the far side, plugged into a PTZ camera, can pull the feed off that PTZ camera and generate a VPN that allows us to remotely control it, sort of like this here, and be able to see it at a distance, paint the camera, color shade it, and make sure we're getting the best signal off of that camera and sort of drag it. And then adding things like the personas for audio, for doing, some talk back and pieces like that. It gives us that ability to create a better quality version of what we would, than what we would get out of Skype and the other technologies. Now, in addition to that, we also get some extra features. We get some forward error correction. We get some bonding if it's available. So it just gives us better reliability in the video stream than if we were just trying to stream directly across the internet utilizing one of these other platforms. Once we've got it in, then we can route it. So we've got a router built in this. So if I have multiple feeds coming in, I can switch them, I can route them live, and then send them out my NDI or my SDI, depending on what my production environment is. We actually have this box right now at the NFL. The NFL is pulling an SRT feed and then flipping it over to NDI and SDI and bringing it into their production system. And so far, it's been going really well. They're very excited about it because it's saving them a lot of time and effort. Where else does this run? Then there's some additional options in here for adding to add in some cellular. So if a client, we've got a client that's burning in a test system this next week where they're going to be doing it all over 4G because the person they're interviewing doesn't have good cell connectivity. So they're basically sending out a cellular box, or they don't have good home internet, because so many of these people, what we're finding is they're broadcasting from home. And to be honest, what we've discovered through this week, and this is something that you and I are going to have to talk about a lot in the coming months, is as the world evolves to manage production remotely, manage people working from home, their home internet's going to have to change. The one thing we've noticed more, time and time again, is traditional ISPs aren't ready for people doing these types of remote video conferencing all the time. And more importantly, the home Wi-Fi and the home routers are not prepared for it. There's no QoS, there's no management of the signal. So what we're seeing is the number one thing that's got to change in the future is better home internet so that we can manage these remote broadcasts more often. And so with these bundles here, we can actually send the internet over cellular with up to 8 SIMs, giving us, that better quality system. So I'm going to jump presentations for a minute and look at a different one here. This one is actually what's going out to one of our clients right now. If I can remember where the button is to start. So if you guys don't know us, we're a distributor. We actually work with Paul and the team and help, present their cameras to the world and bring them out. That's what we do. And specifically what we're focused on right now, like I was saying, is this remote production concept of being able to, put cameras anywhere and bring them in. And most importantly is, remote interviews at a distance, because we got CEOs that are working from home and having to broadcast in. And so we've come up with a couple different ways that we see people doing it. Skype is still, and Zoom are still pretty top ones, but with the TriCaster, with the built-in Skype interface, you can kind of bring in, your laptops from anybody's computer without any extra software. And it comes right into the TriCaster. And then we output it into the router, as you can see at the bottom of that slide, where we are able to then, the producers was one of the areas that we saw people getting frustrated or needing better connectivity. So you have these producers who are also not able to be in the production, not able to be in the room where these people are getting recorded or they're Skyping in. And so with the Intonor box, we're able to send a unique stream out to the producers that they can watch in VLC in real time. And when we say real time, we're talking less than 500 millisecond latency, where they can watch the interview as it's happening and make comments and notes and prepare their edits from that, or prepare the, what the content is going to come out of it. So this little add-on here was really saying, hey, we took the Skype that was there, but then we bridged on another remote, feed to increase the ability for the producers to monitor what's happening. And then when we took it a little bit further, we thought, okay, well, if you got to add additional viewers, you need another Skype. But then we broke away from that, and here's where we got into building a kit here where the interviews that were taking place are with remote people. That they don't always have control over how they're coming into the session. They're typically just on Skype or Zoom. So utilizing Skype to bring people into the production, but still having our primary talent on the best quality camera and the best signal flow possible. So putting in that little Intonor box on the far left, connected to the camera, gave us that VPN connection so we could control the camera, and then utilizing the native streaming built right into your guys' camera, sent that directly into our Intonor box. So now we've got the highest quality video coming into the Intonor, where it can be recorded, dropped into production, or just laid down to tape for later editing. And then we're using Skype to communicate out to whoever they decide at the last minute to bring into the call. And with Skype, it's sort of available everywhere. And then we're still adding that remote production monitor so that the producers can log in and watch the interview as it's happening and as it's taking place. Driving into that, wait, no, that was the wrong one. Adding one more to that one, which is the ability to go completely over bonded. So if we replace the primary Intonor with our larger one, we can actually do remote viewing and bonding and kind of bridge that whole system together, in sort of a cleaner fashion. So it's really right now what we're finding is just people want greater control over the content coming in. They want better quality. They want lower latency so they can have tighter conversations in these interviews. And when you're dealing with people at all these different angles, and you still want to get a clean record feed out without any of the GUIs or the menus, this is the solution that we put together for people to get that aspect pulled together. All right, we'll get out of the PowerPointy stuff because that gets boring really fast. And then, kind of getting into the application itself. So the way the Intonors are set up is they actually completely web-based GUI. So even if we send an encoder out to the client site and we're not using the onboard camera encoding, then we have the ability to completely take control of the encoding. So if I log into my encoder, I can actually see each channel. I can log directly into the encoder, and I can manage what bit rate, where it's going, kind of how it's being utilized, and monitor it. In fact, even with the SDI, we have the ability to look at the pre-encode signal to make sure that we're getting a signal into the system, because sometimes people go, I got no feed. Well, it's because you don't have the cable plugged in, right? But with this, we can see that. And then on the far side, once we bring that in, it comes into our router, and then from there, we can choose how do we want it to go out. Do we want to feed it out in NDI? And you get a very traditional router interface where you get to click on thumbnails, you get to decide where it's going, and then look at, is it going out NDI? Is it going through an encoder where we're going to rebroadcast it up to the cloud or to somewhere else? Or we have this video mixer built in, and this one's a lot of fun because this allows us to, if we don't have our full production rig, right, we don't have a TriCaster or a vmix or something fun in front of us, then we can actually do the switching right here in the interface and add a graphic or an overlay and do a very, very simple production so that our clients can get, kind of, again, the highest quality out in the lowest latency, or, the quickest amount of time. So that's our story of how we're hacking stuff right now. And it's remote camera control. So, utilizing remote PTZ control through VPN to get the signal out, to get control of it, getting that pristine quality over bonding and cellular, and, kind of stepping up and saying, I need more than Skype or Zoom or any of these, traditional cloud-based video conferencing apps can provide me in terms of quality and latency. All right, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I won't bore anybody any longer than that. Paul, any questions, or should we jump to the fun parts, which is a concert coming up shortly?
Well, I've been streaming for 9 hours straight, so I'm ready for a concert. But this is so cool, Nick, and thank you for taking some time out of the day to do this. I think it's awesome, and to be honest, I am ready for a freaking concert right now.
I don't blame you, man. You've been at it. I've been jumping in and out, listening to what's going. I mean, you guys started at what was my time, 6 a.m. So
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine if you're exhausted. I must be more, equally exhausted. Or wait, no, that's the other way around. If I'm exhausted, you must be way more exhausted than I am. Hey, look, applause to you guys for pulling this off. I think it's great because I thought to myself, what was it? When we talked Friday, I was supposed to be on a plane headed to Vegas, and
I know,
instead,
right?
I was stuck in, Northern California, missing Vegas. Well, have I ever really missed Vegas? I don't know, but missing the interaction of being able to hang out, talk with old cronies, and look at amazing technology. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to browse it anyway.
Well, that's what it's all about. And Nick, I got one of our new NDI webcams coming your way because I know you want to play with one of these. So I'm gonna get you one.
I broke I did training for this with my team this morning on our Monday mornings, and got them all primed for this. So they were super excited when they heard the news on this one. But yeah, cool, man. I'm sorry, I'm staring at your monitor. That thing is awesome. Let me know when I can play with that and the other one. I really want to see the other one too. I'm excited for that one for the esports world.
Cool. Well, for those of you who don't know Nick, he's with JB&A. They are a dealer and distributor from
Yeah.
California. And Nick, a lot of folks I've realized who are watching this, they're new to streaming. Many of them, some have video production companies, some are experts at streaming. I don't want to, but I think everybody realizes that we need to help our local communities, the businesses, the different companies that are around us, because we know so much more than the average Joe about this stuff. And every company that has come on has said the demand for video communications equipment and gear is just exploding right now. And the need for people who understand how to use it and can help implement it is going to be strong.
I think that's huge, and it's funny to me. You and I were talking about this last week. Is the systems integrators and the VARs in the community that traditionally build conference rooms? They were like the first ones. They're kind of right now going, "Hey, oh, there we go. Snap. Good job. The systems integrators and VARs are the ones right now that are saying to me, hey, we've got to pivot. We need to be able to offer our clients a better way of communicating, right? Because when we look at these large corporations, I mean, you and I are, we've been talking and preaching to churches for years to get on board with streaming, right? And now suddenly they're all like, I got to stream yesterday. And so that was like the first couple of weeks of this was people like that just needed to get one camera online so they get their message out. Now I've got corporations saying, hey, look, we don't know when we're going to be able to come back to home base. We need to broadcast to a large audience and control it and manage the experience and put it behind a firewall so that only our employees can view it. So they're all kind of, looking at how do we do this on a more permanent basis? And, this is where I think a lot of fun for you and I is going to be, because you're right, we've been living in it forever. We've been streaming and encoding since, it was YouTube first popped up on and we could get a signal up there. So it goes back a long time. And so now being able to take that out to people and say, you're finally ready to get online and to stream. And we've been telling you for 10 plus years, you should be. Awesome. It's about time, but let me walk you through, right? So finding the right encoder, picking the right cameras, talking about whether you want to put graphics on it, what platform to use. There's so many pieces of this conversation, and I'm thoroughly loving every minute of it.
Well, Nick, I hope you have time to meet some of these folks in our breakout Zoom session. You have that link, right?
I'm jumping over there next.
All right, cool, guys. Well, if you're out there, you want to get to know Nick a little better and what they do over at JB&A, they really are a great outfit on the West Coast. Incredible folks. Nick is really the tech guy over there with all the solutions. So pick his brain. Don't lose the chance to get Nick in a Zoom room for 20 minutes or however long he has, because it's going to be worth it. Thank you so much, Nick.
Pleasure having you. Thanks for letting me be on.